Hi, everybody. My name is Ali Bolour, and this is my law partner, Alexander Carl. And today we're going to be talking about visas for the farm industry, the ag industry. H-2A visas we're going to discuss in length. So if you're a farmer, grower, an operator, government has created this visa really just for you and is there to be taken advantage of, to bring in foreign workers if you are lacking enough staffing for your operations. It's a streamlined process. The adjudication is quickly and quite liberal compared to the rest of the immigration world. There are no visa quotas. H-2A is available year-round with no quotas. But you deal with two separate agencies, Department of Labor and the Immigration Service, which is USCIS. So, Alex, how does this work with the Department of Labor? What's the first step that folks need to take?
Yeah, thank you, Ali. As Ali was saying, if you're a farmer, grower, owner, operator, whatever it may be, this is a system set up directly for you, and it's something, in my opinion, you should take advantage of. You work with the Department of Labor first. They're the one who are going to certify the number of workers you need for your operation. So if you say you need 5 workers, if you need 10 workers, well, you're going to submit the ag clearance order detailing where these people are going to work, what they're going to be doing, your qualifications for the job, etc. You say you need five people, you submit it. If they agree that, okay, yes, this does fall under the definition of agricultural labor, you clearly have a farm and you need laborers, then they're going to certify that ag clearance order. And I mean, yes, that's really the first step. It's a pretty straightforward step in the process as well. And one thing I wanted to mention, some people are hesitant. Well, do we need to know from the outset 5 workers? Like, do we need to have them identified? Do we need to know where they're from and their names? No, you can actually start this process without knowing who you're going to be hiring, what their names are. So for unnamed beneficiaries, you can literally secure the opportunity to hire 5 people or 10 people without knowing who they are or even going through with it. Again, the first step is to get the certification from the Department of Labor, and you don't need to identify any of the workers at this point.
So once you get the certification for, let's say, 5 or 20 workers,
Yep.
then you move on to the Immigration Department, USCIS, and you file a form called I-129 for the unspecified workers. You still don't need to ID them if the workers that you're trying to get are from countries that are pre-authorized for H-2A. If the workers that you're trying to get are from countries that have not been pre-authorized, then you need to name them.
Yeah, and to back up a little bit, once you get the ag clearance order, you do have to do recruitment. But again, really, the state workforce agency does all the recruitment for you, meaning you don't have to post the job opening on any website. They actually do that for you. And then you are going to get a flood of emails from applicants who want the position. Most of these emails are going to be coming from applicants from overseas. You get a lot from Canada, a lot from Mexico, a lot from Brazil. So during the recruitment process, you can actually find qualified candidates from overseas that you might not even have known about, and you can decide to hire them or not. You usually get very little legal permanent residents or U.S. citizens who apply. If they do, then you have to decide whether you want to hire them or not as well. But you need to respond to all the inquiries you get. And again, if you do not find any qualified U.S. citizens who apply for the job during the recruitment process, then you are going to get full certification from the Department of Labor. And that is when you move forward, like Ali was mentioning, to working with immigration, and that's USCIS. So interestingly enough, again, if you don't have workers identified and you know you're going to need maybe possibly 10, you give this a go. You may find workers during the recruitment process. If you don't, you'll still get certification, and you can move forward filing your case with immigration for unnamed beneficiaries. And again, just securing your opportunity to possibly use 10, let's say, open visas, right? And you could decide to use 5 of those down the line if you want, or 2 of them, or 3, or you can use all 10, or literally none. There's a lot of farms and clients we work with who, know every growing season, whatever it may be, they need 20, 10 workers. They don't have them identified, but they just want to secure the ability to possibly hire someone from overseas, and this is the way to do it, through the H-2A visa process. Now,
Right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's always nice when a client comes and they say, hey, I know 5 people from Canada, Mexico, South Africa that we want to hire and bring in for our growing season. That's great. But again, I just want to reiterate, you don't need to have people identified. You can secure the opportunity to hire 5 or 10 people through this process.
And sometimes when you start recruiting, like Alex said, you actually get applicants obviously from stateside. And if you decide that you want to hire those people, you have the option of doing so or not doing so. So the federal government is not going to be on your behind once you start recruiting that you have to hire X, Y, and Z. You don't. You can hire 0 if that's what your wish is.
Yeah. And again, the employer's not dealing with the recruitment report or the ag clearance order. That's why you hire someone like us or another law firm to handle all of these details with you. You literally just get a questionnaire, provide the information that's needed, and we do the rest of the work. One thing to keep in mind for H-2A is you do need to house these employees, so you need to provide housing, and you need to identify where the housing is going to be. There's going to be a housing inspection done by either state or local authority. It's done pretty quickly, and we've had little issues with that as well. So, if there's running water, a bed, a restroom, and a little kitchen facility, it could be a shared kitchen, what have you, then, there should be no issues. But something to keep in mind, you do need to provide some type of housing for this job opportunity.
Just really basic.
Yep. And then also, usually not an issue, but proof of workers' compensation as well. You're going to need that in order to get full certification. And yeah, I mean, that's that. If you get full certification from the Department of Labor, which most oftentimes you will, dealing with immigration is a breeze. They usually just sign off and will approve the case at the immigration level, seeing that the Department of Labor has done their due diligence and already fully certified you for 10 workers at your farm to undertake these duties.
So let's say that for next year's harvest, you have an interest in pursuing these H-2A visas. So if harvest is in August, Alex, when should they be contacting somebody like us?
The earliest you can file the ag clearance order is 75 days before your start date of need. I know that's kind of a puzzle, but probably 2 months before that. So 5 months before you need people to come in and work for you. You should probably, right? I mean, is that math?
Yeah,
correct?
so if harvest, let's say it's in August, you kind of need to start just about now to kick-start the process in order to be in a position
to file on that 75-day mark.
Correct.
And then, yeah, things move pretty quickly. I mean, again, this is unlike H-2B visas, which are visas for temporary workers not in the ag industry. This H-2A visa system is a very streamlined process, and it's set up nicely for people in the ag industry to take advantage of to their benefit. It really is.
So a little bit of information for hopefully the H-2A process to be even more streamlined and easier. What's tucked in the Farm Bill right now that's being discussed in this conference is just a year-round availability of H-2A, right? Because right now, it's a temporary visa for the year. That means you can't get somebody here for 12 months. Is that right, Alex?
Yeah, I mean, they define it as seasonal. It's a seasonal agricultural visa. And right now, if you say, well, my season is 12 months, they're going to say that's an entire year. That's not seasonal. So you got to break it down. Probably max 10 months you can get away with. A lot of our clients, they say they need their workers for 8 months, and that's fine. And then just redo that every single year.
So if Farm Bill passes the way it is, this is going to change to a 12-month program. So it's no longer seasonal because seasonal can be defined within the 12 months. So urge you to, after our presentation, perhaps walk over to the pavilion that our congressional reps are there to make a comment to make sure that little provision doesn't get watered down, because that's really, really important for the ag industry. Now,
Yep.
um, beyond the H-2A, right, we also have H-2B. So what's the difference between H-2A and H-2B? Main difference.
Yeah, I mean, H-2B was set up, I think, for similar purposes as the H-2A visa. H-2B is for temporary workers in the non-agricultural industry. So, landscaping companies, roofing companies, construction companies, what have you. If they're having trouble filling their positions, then they can try to take advantage of the H-2B visa to get people over here to work for them during their peak season or seasonal season. Now, the H-2B visa is kind of a headache. I don't want to confuse you guys too much on it. We're here to focus on H-2A. But just so you know, that's also, if you're not in the ag industry and you're looking for workers, unskilled workers, laborers, whatever, however they define them, then you may want to reach out and ask some questions about the H-2B visa process.
Right, so H-2B is quoted, right? There's only 66,000 visas available, split into two batches, really, October 1st and April 1st, 33,000 each cycle, which, it gets, the government runs out every cycle. So it's highly competitive. Like Alex said, it's a little bit more of a headache. It's a little bit different than H-2A and other aspects as well. But yeah, it is basically for any industry as it relates to the ag industry, I guess truckers, growers.
Yeah, well, I mean, in certain instances, if you're hauling produce from a farm to cold storage, then a lot of those times those drivers can qualify for an H-2A visa. And again, if you don't have any problem with housing them, I would heavily advise to go H-2A just because it is much more streamlined and easier to get done. H-2B is a crapshoot just because of the limited number of visas and the groups you're put in, etc.
So for example, if you need to have H-2B workers start for you on October 1st, we encourage you to contact us no later than March 15th, in about a month, because otherwise you'd run out of time. There's a lot of prep work that goes into an H-2B situation, as opposed to an H-2A situation, which is much more streamlined.
Yep. And just to wrap it up a bit, one thing I want you all to take away from this is, again, for that H-2A ag visa, you don't need to have workers identified to start this. You don't need to have workers identified until the very last step of it all. You can use this process to your advantage in order to get certified to hire 10 people, 15 people, 5 people, and then whether you use that or not, up to you. But, there's a way to get certified, and a lot of farms do that. They say, you know what, why don't we at least get certified for 15 people every season? So if the opportunity arises and we need to bring people over, at least we have the opportunity to do so. If you don't start it, then, you close that. You don't have that opportunity. It's kind of an important thing to take away. A lot of farmers are, not a lot, but some people don't understand that. They think they have to have workers identified. That's not the case.
Right. And this concludes our presentation. We're happy to answer any questions you may have.
Yeah, thanks for coming. Hopefully
Thanks
you guys
for
are
coming.
A little bit warm and enjoy some food.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, go ahead.
When you work with the FLC, they charge you, basically their piece rate or
Yeah.
Per vine or per tree charge, and then they incorporate the crew boss fee and then their commission fee. So working through this program, I'd assume we pay the minimum wage. What other? Do you guys have an idea of what kind of fees would be associated with?
I mean, that's, yeah.
Program?
Unlike the H-2B, you don't file with the Department of Labor a prevailing wage determination, meaning for that you say, okay, this is where the people are going to be working, this is what they're going to be doing, this is their geographical location, and the Department of Labor will come back and say, okay, well, this is how much you have to pay them, no less. For H-2A, when you submit the ag clearance order, they ask you how much you're going to be paying these workers. If it's too low or they think it needs to be a different number, they'll come back with a notice of deficiency, which is fine. It happens all the time, and say you actually have to pay them this much. And then you just make that change on the form itself, tell them you're going to be paying them that much, and that's that. If you think that's too high, then I guess you say, well, we don't want to, so let's not do it this year.
So Alex, I'm sorry, so that's not a national standard, right? That's a local standard. So you would get a bounce back if the pay is too low for the local, right? There's no
Yeah.
national number.
No.
Right, go ahead.
Sorry, I kind of lost my.
No worries. Yeah.
No worries,
And you can come
We'll
up
be
here
around.
after, so, yeah.
yeah. Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
Question, you mentioned that you can apply, if you think you're going to need workers, you can apply for 15. And
Yep.
so what happens is you're going along in the process, but you all of a sudden decide, I no longer will need these 15. How easy is it to get out of it? Is there
Easy. I mean, you're not bound to hire anyone. You're not, they don't make you go through with it. The only thing you're going to lose is a little bit of fee on the lawyer side, right? You would pay someone like us to handle the agricultural clearance order and then stage number 2. And then if you decide, this isn't for us, then you say, okay, well, hopefully we try again next year. But for the Department of Labor and USCIS and all that, it's no problems whatsoever. Yeah.
You're not bound
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah. So you could stop whenever you'd like, no problem.
Any other questions? All right.
you